What's everybody? It's Matt Faircloth here, doing another chat with Matt. Chat with Matt. Gonna go over some real estate stuff. Go over whatever y'all want to. Excited to be here. Happy Friday. I'm feeling good. Feeling good today. I'm like 10 out of 10 good. I'm like, you know, Spinal Tap. These go to 11 on a 10. You guys are probably too old for Spinal Tap, or too young for Spinal Tap, but good movie. And there's a point where he's doing these knobs and showing his amplifier, and every knob on the amplifier goes to 11. And he thought it was the coolest thing in the world that it wasn't 10, it was 11. He's like, like everything else goes to 10. Like you want that extra juice or whatever, and he thought it was the coolest thing. Like, hey, these go to 11, right? Anyway, it's look up. This is Spinal Tap. These go to 11 if you want to laugh and that. And I'm feeling like I'm going to 11 out of 10 today. So join me live, guys. Here's the link. There you go. Cool. My man Nabiku is watching right now. Nabiks, if you can move that over to LinkedIn for me, please, and over to DeRosa Insiders on Facebook. That would be incredible. I'd appreciate you. So if you guys see that link right there, click it. You can join me live. If you guys join me live, we'll send you some free stuff. We'll send you, little DeRosa swag, little DeRosa thank you, and that for coming on. So grab it. Come on in, and we'll send you a little thank you package. Not that that's what it's all about, but I will gladly thank you for making our real estate show even better. Here's some stuff we're up to. We're chasing a few right now. Deals. We've got a few in the Carolinas that we're just 2 inches away from. I feel like, and I think that they're going to pop, and the sellers have been more and more realistic with their numbers, and I think that's happening everywhere. Is that we're seeing like 10 to 15% price correction from sellers that really need to or want to sell or just want to get realistic. They're just not able to name their number, just put whatever number they want on the property anymore. So I think that that's something that we'll see more of. And then we're starting to see that. I don't think it's going to go much further than 10 to 15% because, I just think that's just what I think. My crystal ball is broken, but that's what I believe. Additionally, I think that we are actually seeing rates come down, believe it or not. I don't think it's going to go back down to where they were, but here's an example. DeRosa Capital 11, we're in the middle of a refi. So those of you guys that are DC 11 investors, hi, Chad, how are you? Join me live, man. Click the link. Love to have you here, man. Come and join me live if you can. And there's a link there, Chad. If you can link, you want to talk to real estate shop. But DC 11, it's a 336 unit apartment complex. Some of you guys that are members of Insiders are investors in it, right? So what we ended up finding out was we got a bid from Fannie Mae to refinance it, and they originally started at like 5.8%. We've got them down to like, I think 5.15. So we've gotten a 60 basis point drop in that. Chad, hit me up, man. Let me see if I can get your website too. We're launching a mastermind and an education and other education programs here in-house that are like next level beyond the boot camp. So if you're a boot camp graduate, we have a like weekly mastermind with me and the DeRosa team. That's more hands-on, a lot more intimate, a lot smaller. If you'd like to join that, we can send you more information. Nabiku, is that site ready yet? I don't know if the website's ready yet, Nabiku, but if you want to, I'll tell you what, Nabiku, if you're watching, if you're able, if it's ready, or if you have it, post the join the waiting list site here. If it's not, it's okay. Chad, if you'd like more information, Nabiku can send it to you, but just let me know here on the chat and we'll put you on the waiting list. But we might have a waiting list site for you to check out. So where there's a weekly mastermind, and then there is a retreat coming up in April that you're going to get to walk. It's a 2-day retreat, Chad. So you can walk one or two of our apartment buildings in North Carolina. It's face to face with me and the DeRosa team It's a 2-day immersive. We walk a couple of apartment complexes, meet with the site staff, and then spend a day and a half in the conference room, just really diving into your business. Again, we're trying. The boot camp was great, but there was 500 people in those boot camps, right? So we wanted to do something that different price points in the boot camp, of course, but way smaller, way more intimate, and everything like that. We'll be launching our education real estate soon. Please stay tuned. We're getting everything ready for you. Okay, it's coming out. Naviku says on the minute. But Naviku, keep Chad's info there, so we can send him a DM. You can send him a DM when it's launched. So Chad, just stand by. My man Naviku here, who is the Jervis to my Iron Man, will send it directly to you when it's available. Okay. Anyway, refi. What is interesting is that what people don't realize is as much as the Fed has increased rates, some of the rates that loans are tied to are not directly affected by the Fed increasing rates. So here's an example. The 5-year Treasury is who's Chad? Chad, join me, man. Click the link. Want to hear about your freaking 87-acre property with 10 rental cabins and an RV park? What? Tell me more about that. If you want to click the link, you can join me live and I'll talk some shop with you about that. But that sounds awesome. Congrats. And we can help you get there. But back to rates, right? So rates are not always affected by things that the Fed, if the Fed increases rates, it doesn't always directly correlate to what rates people pay to borrow money, right? Sometimes it's unrelated at all, right? The underlying indicator that drives rates for multifamily that we're borrowing on right now is the 5-year Treasury. And the 5-year Treasury is just an investment that people make. You go and buy a 5-year Treasury note, which means you're loaning money to the U.S. government, and they're paying you an interest rate of typically somewhere in the 3s right now, is where the 5-year Treasury is trading, right? Now, yes, that's gone up a lot since the Fed increased rates. So it does affect a bit, but it's not a direct correlation. So although the Fed's increased rates, 5-year Treasury the last month, guys, has gone down by about 50 basis points. So that's driven down the rate that we're borrowing for multifamily. So what you guys want to know when you are going to borrow money, you want to find out what the underlying indicator that the bank's using to determine what your interest rate is, right? So it's not all interest rates are created equal. There are loans that are tied to SOFR, and it used to be LIBOR, right? Now it's SOFR, SOFR, and SOFR has gone through the roof. And a lot of short-term debt, short-term floating rate debt is tied to SOFR. So that's how bridge loans got caught. You guys might have heard about people borrowing money using bridge loans, stuff like that. Bridge loans got absolutely doubled in some ways because SOFR went way up, right? But SOFR is a short-term rate. It floats daily, right? The 5-year Treasury, a lot of long-term interest rates are tied to that, and that floats less. It's also 100% investor-driven. The way it works is if your bank wants to loan you money on a 5-year loan, they'll go and back your loan up with a 5-year Treasury note. And that's fixed for 5 years, fixed rate of return. That's how they're able to offer you a fixed rate, is because your loan is backed up by something that's also fixed for 5 years. SOFR is not fixed for 5 years. So things that float quickly have gone way up. Things that are more long-term have gone up, but not as much, right? So that's a quick note, guys, quick tip. Let's see, what else can I tell you guys? A lot of, we've had a lot of properties at DeRosa that are midstream renovation, it bought them at 90% occupancy and then wanted to, improve the tenant base and, get the bad actors out that were, causing crime at the property or just not paying your rent on time, whatever it is. And just reshuffle the deck in the property. We've been able to do a lot of that really well. It's just tough to do it. In 2022, what really hurt was, you hear about this in the newspaper about the ability to find good labor. That showed up a lot in construction. It was hard to find good labor in the labor force of people actually doing the work. It was also hard to find good contractors who want to hire a GC or a contractor. They were having the same problems, or they were just so busy try to find contractors with integrity. Hey, Chad. I'll wait till I can see you, and then I'll bring you in. So that's one issue that we had. Obviously, rising rates affected us a ton, and then the changing economy. Not too many people are talking about this, and I think this will become a talking point in multifamily or in real estate for 2023. Tenants are having more and more of a problem paying the rent. We are seeing an increase in delinquency. We are seeing an increase in concessions. And a lot of the COVID support that folks were getting is now going away. And so we believe that 2023 is going to be a way softer rent collection month, or year, excuse me. My man Chad's here. Let's talk mobile home parks. Hey, Chad, you there? Hello? Let me try you again. I'm gonna pop you in. There he is. Hey, Chad, how are you?
Hello, how are you? Thanks.
Good, man. Thanks for joining. How are you today?
Working as always.
ABC, man. Always be working, you know? Yeah.
Correct.
What do you do? Are you working for yourself? You working for, are you, where you building someone else's dream right now? You building your own? What are you up to?
No, I've been self-employed for 23 years. Got used auto dealerships, got a finance company, got a couple back-end reinsurance companies, and of course my rental stuff.
You own car dealerships?
What? Yes.
Where about?
Indiana.
How's the car market? I've heard that the car market's been crazy this past year, like the 2022, that used cars went through the roof because you couldn't buy new cars anymore because of the microchips and that kind of stuff.
Correct.
This is like Matt's armchair quarterback all the way over here. But tell me your side of it, like what's happened to the car market, what you've seen, why it happened. Give me your take.
So, when the shutdown took place, we had the chip shortage, which created, the manufacturers shutting down, producing new cars.
Yep.
Well, when somebody goes to buy a brand new car, they're trading in their 1 or 2 year old car, which trickles down. They sell that to the guy that carries, stuff still under factory warranty. Then
Yep.
people trade in there, and that inventory just continues to trickle down until it makes it to the, the bottom of the barrel, as far as, it gets to scrap at some point, and, there's buyers for that as well. So when that stopped at the top of the market, that trickle down effect stopped as well. So those people that buy new cars every year, there was nothing for them to buy. So they weren't trading in that 1 year old car, which meant the guy that sells the 1 and 2 year old cars had no inventory. So he wasn't taking in the 4 to 6 year old cars, and so forth. So to get inventory, the new car stores were, offering ridiculous money for trade-ins. They were taking cars that were, some of them were 2 years old, with 20, 30,000 miles, and they were offering them what they paid for the car 2 years ago or more to trade that car in, just so they would have inventory. Crazy. And now we're going to see here over the next 12 to 24 months, you're going to see almost what happened in the housing in the late 2000s happen in the car market, because now policies used to be in financing that if somebody had an open auto loan, they would generally not finance a second vehicle because of more risk, that one of those cars is probably going to go back. Right. Saw a report here not too long ago that 9 lenders have released that stipulation, and are now, if somebody has an open auto, will finance a second auto, because the assumption is the older vehicle that they're buried in is the one that's going to go back. Yep. So then now, just like in the housing market, you get all these repossessions, start flooding the market with inventory, prices drop quickly, and there's much more inventory. So, you're going to see a lot of banks take a bath in the auto loan side now, as opposed to what they did in the housing market back in the, late 2000s.
Do you think it's going to affect the price of new cars and used cars? Do you think are gonna drop?
Well, not necessarily in your new cars, because that's a fixed, MSRP, but your used market, which has been, dominant here over the last 2 years. We're already seeing, I had a Jeep here 6-8 months ago that, I was $4 or $5 grand to the good in it. and within 6 months went to 4 or 5 grand upside down in it. Just, and you're talking about a 6-7 year old vehicle, but, went from a almost $30,000 vehicle to, low 20s. And that later model where those guys have been putting big money in it, they've been paying big money for it because they need it. Well, now it's going to become readily available. And that's where you're going to see people start giving cars back where, oh, I'm 5 grand upside down in this car. I can go buy a new one for $200 less a month than what I'm paying now on a brand new one.
Yep. So I'll just let this go or walk away from that loan.
Exactly.
And give it back to the bank, and the bank takes a bath, and then
Right.
So how do you win in that? If you're a used car guy, how does that? If prices are dropping, I mean, are you preparing to just gobble up a lot more inventory as it comes on?
Yeah,
I solve it with volume or what?
Yeah, I've always been an opportunity buyer. So, in the auto industry, and I've always done buy here, pay here financing. So I've carried my own loans.
Yep.
So what I've done at the end of the year when things start to slow down in November, really past Thanksgiving, prices start to drop. Guys, sales are down. Guys are getting crunched for money. So they're starting to take stuff to the auctions to just create cash flow so they can get by. Well, I would go in November and December and buy anything I get my hands on. Then when, tax season comes around, which is the busy time of the year, everybody's fighting for inventory. Well, I'm already filled up and have plenty of inventory.
Right. And you're willing to in real estate, we call it land banking, but in cars, it's just auto banking. You'll just sit on the car for literally just from December, I guess, to December till March. It's only a couple months spread, and you're trying to ride that wave. That's great, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me, you got an 87-acre property with 10 rental cabins and an RV park. What? That's awesome. Tell me more about that.
Yes. Founded on Crexia, which was kind of crazy. So this was the same guy owned this property from the 70s up until COVID. They shut down when COVID hit, and he was, I'm assuming, up in age. He got sick and ended up dying in 21. This real estate investor bought it, has done a bunch of rehab to it, fixed a bunch of the things that needed to be fixed. And he bought it to flip and posted it on there and found it, within a few days, got in contact with it. He was willing to owner finance it on top of that. So we made arrangements to, underwrote it, and it's a decent property. It was going to about break even right now with the rate and him carrying the financing, but he was going to do it on a 2-year balloon. And we fiddled around for about a week and a half, got busy with work and whatnot. And we went down on last Thursday and toured the property, looked at the cabins, loved it. I mean, it's 87 acres in southern Indiana, beautiful in the middle of woods, down around the French Lick area, beautiful countryside.
Yeah.
And so on Friday, he sent me just kind of a video of his, the 9 months that he's had it up and running, his booking schedule and everything, and got busy over the weekend. Wasn't able to watch that until Monday morning. And I watched it. I called him, said, "Hey, love it. Let's do it." Well, I've got a verbal agreement on it yesterday. So, we got to talking a little bit more. I said, if you're interested, I put a backup offer in on it or whatnot. And he said, I'll just be transparent with you. I've got a loan on it, 6.25% interest. This is what the payment is, blah, blah, blah. I said, is the loan assumable? He said, I don't know. I've not checked. We'll come to find out it is assumable. And the other people that have the offer in, he's got to make a decision on it today, but they're wanting to owner finance it. And he said, obviously, if you can get the loan assumption, I'd much rather sell it to you and get out from under the payment, and he's also willing to carry.
What's that? The cash for the delta? Do you have the cash for the strike price minus the mortgage? Do you have that delta in equity?
It'll probably be a little short. So originally the deal was going to be 300K down on a 2-year balloon, and then a balloon payment at the end of 2 years. His mortgage is about 650 less than his asking price. So he told me if we could do a little bit more on the down payment up front, he would carry a second on it at 2% interest. So I of course jumped all over that.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. So it sounds like you're right there, and you're not going to you would need to raise any of that. Like you just throw it out there and maybe value add it. I mean, 6.25 is 6.25 about right for an RV park? Like what you got there? Could you borrow? Do you think you can borrow money at less?
So the RV park wasn't even there when he bought it. It has been unutilized so far. He had the property when he bought it. He spent 4 months rehabbing the cabins, fixing things that needed fixed. So he had 6 of them renting from March until the end of the year. He got a 7th one up in, I think, June, and then the 8th one up in, I think, August. And it still has 2 that need rehabbed. And then while he was doing that, he put in an 8-slot RV park there. It's got, water and electric. And so that's not even been included in the income. And it did about a little over 200 last year, just in the 9 months he had it open.
Why only 8 slots? Can you do more of them?
So if you go to 9, then you have to get state approval. And more, and there's the opening for that. He said, I just didn't want to mess with jumping through all the hoops with the state.
But that might allow you to do, 30 or 50,
whatever. Yeah. So the total 10 units and the RV park only occupy about 10 of the 87 acres.
Now you got a conversation.
So there is tons of upside as far as different opportunities. You can build more cabins. You can expand the RV park. You could, they have a spot down by the RV park that has a stage. They used to have bands come in and do, small concerts. It needs quite a bit of, to get it to peak, but I think they're way under rented. I mean, he's renting them for like 119 to 169 a night. I think that should be pushing upper hundreds a night. And depending on, what all we do.
I think that as we go into a recession or whatever, I think people are going to be looking for value things to do with their family that this, maybe not taking your family to Disney for 10 grand, maybe taking your family to a cool, safe, without a bunch of bikers hanging out or whatever, and drunks or whatever. But if I take my family somewhere else for $500-600 and have a wholesome family experience, I think people are going to be looking for that. Good bit of that, and you could build like that as a family center. Of course, you could make it, Woodstock on the weekend if you want to, but that you may have a lot of rehab to do after every weekend, whatever. On the family side, like a big jungle gym. We buy our jungle gyms for super affordable for our apartment buildings. You can do that. A splashy park, all kinds of cool stuff. We got a lake. You can stock the lake. We were looking at an apartment building where there was a lake on site, and the owner was smart enough to have the lake stocked with trout. It was friggin' freshwater trout in the lake at the apartment complex. You had to be a resident to fish there. It was catch and release. So it was, you get residents that would go out with their kids and go fishing every day after work. How cool is that?
Exactly.
You have the whole pond had people all around fishing and stuff like that. I was like, man, that's cool. It's something to do with your kids. It's cheap, affordable for where you live for free. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. And this has, it's got some like playground equipment there.
You can upgrade that.
3 little ponds.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. But they got groups that'll come in and rent the cabins for, $2,500 for the weekend. So, I mean, very affordable. And you've got, and all the different cabins are themed, One of them has like a castle theme, and it's got a big tower next to it that, you can climb up in the tower, and it's all open at the top.
That's great.
Just a lot of cool stuff that, is just off the norm.
What do you want to do with the other 87 acres? You can put like a paintball field out there. You could, yeah.
And we did not tour that when we went. It was raining all day. But there's some hiking trails that have been grown over. I thought about maybe putting some like side by side minor trails where, kind of a idle speed where they could go through and, do some tour or some ATV stuff, things like that.
There's a park I live in Pennsylvania. There's a park by me that you can go and rent a cabin or camp out, right? And they got trails that you can go take your vehicle off-roading in,
Okay.
And so, and think about that from a liability perspective. That's your car. I didn't give you the car,
Right.
Like, that's it. Oh, hey, and by the way, I know a car guy. Yeah.
When you went down the hill.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
But I mean, this spot is more geared towards Jeep Wranglers. It's like a Jeep Wrangler themed kind of thing. And so a lot of how like a Wrangler thing is like a total club. That's right. I drive a Jeep Wrangler myself, so I'm always waving to people or whatever. So it's like a Wrangler themed off-roading park to go and get stupid and take your vehicle off-roading. Cool, right?
Yeah, they have a few of those here in southern Indiana.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like I said, and kind of like he said, the only thing that'll limit you is, your imagination and your pocketbook.
Sure. Yeah, right. I like the liability and the cost side of it because you're not out there buying a bunch of quad racers or whatever. And
right.
If I'm stupid and go drink a bunch of tequila and then go and flip my quad racer over that I rented from you, my lawyer will make that your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I don't care how many waivers you make me sign.
Right. Yeah, they'll find some little hole in it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Any questions or this is a great conversation. Anything else any burning questions you got that I can answer for you or anything like that or what?
Not right offhand. We should know more on it here in the couple days to come. Like I said, he is extremely leaning toward, our offer, because of, just assuming the loan and getting it out of his hair. And they've got a housekeeper that stays on site. And then she kind of got some ideas as far as maybe setting up like a little camp store, if you will, that has, just camping supplies or, just essentials that she could run. They got their laundry facilities and everything at the main house.
You're the used auto guy. You would know, you could figure this out. Get yourself a bunch of used golf carts.
Right.
Get them cleaned up, and you could lease a golf cart. Like if I'm renting a cabin and I want to get around the complex you built for them out there for like $100 a weekend, I can lease a golf cart from you,
Yep.
And now that's just additional revenue. And like you said, she puts in the community store. She sells bait for the stock pond you got out there and all that.
Correct.
We're running around on the golf carts around the site. There you go.
Yeah. Like I said, there's tons of opportunity down there.
Yeah.
And it's about 3 hours and 15 minutes away from us. So, it's not horribly distant. And the guy that's selling it's got connections as far as, he said, I can hook you up with somebody if you want to build more cabins. That's what he does. And, guys to do, there's some maintenance that he said should still be done. And we've got 2 cabins that need rehab. So he's going to connect me with the people down there to get that done.
Value add. Yeah. Well, keep in touch, man, on how it goes. I hope you get that deal. I'll hear back from you. So you came in off of Facebook. Okay.
Yes.
Nabiku, please send Shad a DM on Facebook. Nabiku's he's my VA. He needs to get your address. We want to send you I want to mail you like DeRosa thank you package.
I appreciate it
for being here. And he can let you pick, but I can give you a signed copy of my book, or like a bunch of DeRosa Chachki thank you stuff. He'll send you some options. But really grateful to have you here, man. He just put the email here, livesessions@DeRosaGroup.com. And Nabiku, follow up with a DM also so he gets that. A direct message on Facebook. Chad, thank you. And Nabiku will also send you, we are launching a mastermind.
Okay.
And we're doing site tours of our multifamily properties a couple times a year. So hopefully you can do one or both. Okay.
Yeah, sounds great. Appreciate having me on.
Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Matt. Have a great day.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay, I got a message from Steve here. What do we got, Steve? Hey, Matt. Did read your book, Raising Private Capital. Great book on how to start and then grow. You are welcome, Steve. Thank you, man. It's really validating to hear. And I want to. There we go. Okay. I wanted to just thank you for that because it really is validating, and to hear that the book did a lot for you. I appreciate you. So that's that. Hey, that was good. My man Chad making me want to look to buy RV parks and that. I mean, it's just really creative, and I think that the lesson there is that just value add doesn't have to be just cleaning up kitchens and renovating apartments like we do on a multifamily value add. Whatever the value add is, it's just really about taking something and bringing it to the highest and next level, right? So that could mean leasing out golf carts or putting in paintball or renovating the existing units or talking to the state about allowing to do more RVs or whatever it is Chad decides to do. These are all great value add solutions that are there for him to do. And that could mean anything that you guys are looking at. Find a way to increase revenue, decrease expenses, increase your bottom line. Increasing revenue might not just be increasing rent on your tenants. It could be just adding more units or adding other things your tenants will pay you for gladly. So those are my lessons. Great conversation with Chad. Thank you, Chad. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next Friday for Chats with Matt. Take care.